You're right. Happy Saturday night. Back again with the Hoops Rehab Show. Uh-oh. Is that Headband Eric? Headband
That's right.
LeBron?
It's Eric/LeBron headband night.
Oh, okay. I see you.
I don't know if you saw our boy today. He brought it back. Little blast from the past.
Yeah.
So he's rocking it. So I'm gonna rock it tonight. Why not?
I like the headband.
He and them got the dub, and we'll get that dub tonight. So let's get it.
You got it, man. All right. So, hey, the game injury doc here, aka Dr. Evan Jeffries. You can follow me on Twitter and all the social media at Game Injury Doc. Then we got my man Eric B Mac. Follow him on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. We're on YouTube as well, so we're streaming live on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram tonight. Talk about the NBA, talk about our Lakers, and some injuries around the league tonight. So let's get it, man.
Let's do it. Lakers got a big W. I kind of wanted to first start off with like some of the things I saw wrong, but you know what? I'm going to flip the script. At the end of the day, Lakers needed to win. They got it. Big one against Memphis. Obviously, they were tied for the 4 or 5 seed. So a loss would have brought the Lakers down to a 5, and I would have been talking playing with you. That's where I was headed with that.
Okay. You would have went there.
Yeah, big win, obviously. The big 3 came out to play. I know we're going to get into that, some of the crazy numbers they kind of been having as of late. And so they really balled out. Obviously, no lead is safe for the Lakers.
Nope, not at all.
I hesitated to tweet out in the second quarter that, hey, things are looking pretty good. And, of course, Memphis came back and took the lead. And I was ready for another blast off, so to speak, on this show, but they obviously hung on at the end to get a much needed victory.
Yeah, man. Hey, when we talk about the road trip, they had 4 games on the road trip. They went 2-2.
Yep.
We obviously have liked to see the 3-1.
Absolutely.
Should have had it at Chicago, but nothing we can do. I'm glad to see the fight and kind of the grit tonight to pull out the game against the Grizzlies. Especially when, they were up 20 at one point in the game.
No, they were. Yeah, they were.
And then, to kind of get down close, actually lose the lead, and then kind of get back comfortable and not have to deal with any heroics tonight was a good sign for the Lakers kind of moving forward. The trio of LeBron, Luka, AR, only trio in the league averaging 20 points and 5 assists a game. So I'm going to pass this question to you. Are they the best trio in the league right now?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they are, geez, gotta be up there. I mean, obviously you have the OKC boys, right? Yeah. You got, I mean, most of the time it's usually a duo. I mean, Celtics, it's kind of obviously, Tatum and Brown, it's more of a duo as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to put I don't think we're putting Porzingis as that 3. I mean, you can.
Yeah, so with like SGA, Chet, and Williams, right? J. Will.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. I mean, pretty solid trio. You got those Cleveland boys. Yeah. I mean, when you look at Donovan Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley, I mean, that's a pretty dynamic duo. I still feel like having Garland and Mitchell is just a little redundant because of 2 small guards. Even though they're doing well, obviously, this whole season, I just think having those 2 smaller guards in the backcourt are going to be a disadvantage when it comes playoff time. Not many times teams are getting by with two little guards in the backcourt.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a similar skill set, but yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of looking through some of the teams in the league here. Obviously, Denver's more of a duo. Yeah. I'm sure Clipper fans and Clippers, you obviously got the Harden, Kawhi, and maybe Zubac or Norman Powell, whoever you want to throw in there.
Oh, well, maybe you heard that debate where Lou Will and Chandler Parsons were talking about that Norman Powell is a better 3 option than Austin Reaves.
I mean, around the All-Star break, there was possibly they were about even or some consideration, but
yeah.
I mean, Norman Powell he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, solid.
Yeah, no.
But he was playing a little over his head, and I mean, he's had a long, not great, really solid career, and so I think he's kind of going to more of the means now, and so he's solid. Don't get me wrong.
No, I mean he's a great scorer, but when you think about somebody that can make plays during the game and create for other players, I think that's Austin Reaves all day in terms of that type of player. So
he's showing me something. I've I'm him. He's always been him, and there's some games that I've gotten on him, and I'm like, man, this guy, this treasure that we don't want to trade for anybody. I don't understand, but he has definitely showed me that he's a baller, super athletic, just athletic, just crafty, right? He's we were kind of saying a couple years ago, he's like a right-handed Manu Ginobili kind of.
Yeah, man, that's what I was calling him about a year and a half ago. I said he's basically the right-handed Manu Ginobili. So just crafty with the ball, knows how to get a foul, right? Just like Luka. Him and Luka, I think they both shot. Well, I think Luka missed that last free throw, but they were 10 for 10, both of them. So not many times a night you're gonna have 2 players getting 10 for 10 from the free throw line. So that's pretty solid because he's gonna get his free throws and he's gonna hit them at a pretty high clip. So just in general, I think having that as a third option, and I mean, I'm not saying that most third options are not going to be your number one option. Right. And AR can be your number one option at times, right? I mean, tonight he led the team in scoring, right? So I think he can be that guy that you need to rely on. Kind of gives LeBron a little bit more rest, a little more energy when it comes to the fourth quarter. So I think moving forward, I think we got obviously a pretty damn good player on our hands there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think about those games that I think the home game against Indiana and the game at Denver that they lost, but obviously could have gone either way. When it was just the AR show, and he held his own and he carried the load.
Yeah.
Got people involved, right? It was a playmaker, and then he knew, when it was time to score, and so, I mean, he's as far as most improved player. I mean, he's got to be
up there.
He's got to be in the running. I haven't heard that in a while, or from actually with his name. But then again, I haven't checked on that either. I'm just trying to think who else is out there. Maybe I guess a Norman Powell would have been there. Off the top of my head, I really can't think of anyone that's improved as much as Austin. And so, I guess Memphis. Speaking of a trio, I don't know. Seems like a little obviously Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, and John Morant. Something is kind of off a little bit this year about that. Yeah. So we'll talk. I know we're going to get into they obviously had someone, a new coach on the sidelines today. And so
a little something happened yesterday, right? Yeah. That was a little strange with 9 games to go in the season. So, I don't know. They seem a little bit off. I mean, I saw Desmond Bane get in the fight with, I can't think of the guy's name right now. That was a couple of days ago. But just on the sidelines, on the bench, right? So it seems like they're having a couple things going on.
Was it Santi Aldama?
Yeah, there you go, Aldama. I was I couldn't think of his name, but I saw them kind of going back and forth. And so, I mean, does that make any sense that maybe there's some locker room drama going on? Possibly. But in my opinion, firing a coach with 9 games to go is just, what are you doing? Right. I mean, it can't be that bad when you're in 5th place in the West, in the tough West, that you're going to fire your coach with 9 games to go. Who calls that?
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously in most cases when there's a firing of a coach, especially mid-season, and this is way beyond mid-season, you're going to look at your stars. Yeah. You're going to think oh, did he and John Morant not get along, or did something happen there? And so that's just natural for everyone to think that. And obviously, I don't think we've heard too much yet. Maybe it's something we will
there was a rumor out there that Ja was a little frustrated with some of the offensive concepts and things like that. But then I look up, they're number 2 in the league in scoring. So not having too much of offensive problem, but maybe not what Ja wants it to be, right? So that could be an issue. You never know in terms of what your superstar player wants and needs. So this could have been like, hey, you're keeping Taylor, I'm out this summer, right? Who knows? I mean, there's been some rumors that maybe Ja does want to get out. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel that it could be those things, as you said, about Ja, and maybe they felt they kind of hit a wall, and this is the furthest they were going to be able to go with this coach. But I would have understood it if they got knocked out in the first or second round this year and it happened.
Yeah,
then I'd be like,
totally.
I would still say, you know what? Hey, it seems like he's a hell of a coach. It's still surprising, but it happens. It's a business.
Yeah.
I mean, we got, guys like Frank Vogel that won a championship and got fired 2 years later, right?
Man, how many coaches have we had since LeBron's been here, right?
Yep.
So,
and, I bring up Frank because he won a chip. So that almost doesn't, unfortunately, mean much anymore. But so I would have understood it, like I said, going out first round, maybe losing in 5, gentlemen sweep, or getting swept. But unless they really felt like they needed a spark, because that often was happened. That was my main concern about this game, actually, that obviously Ja was back, and that sometimes that players, they step up those first few games when a coach gets fired because they want to make it known that it was the head coach.
100%.
Was the reason we're having these problems. So I was a little worried, and they played well. Obviously, they Lakers went up, like you said, about 20, and they came back. And there's some defensive concerns that we'll probably get into here in a second from the Lakers. But just to put a bow on that, it's very strange, to say the least. And to be honest, with that loss from the Grizzlies, the Clippers are just chomping at their heels. And imagine if, I don't even know if I'd want to see it, but a 4-5 Lakers Clippers matchup.
Lakers Clippers, I know. Yeah, I was looking at the standings, and Clippers 8-2 last 10, right?
Yep.
Memphis 4-6 the last 10, so they're coming. Golden State is still there, right? Exactly. It's not a guarantee that Memphis is actually in the top 6 at this point, right? So not only did you fire your coach, you lost to the Lakers, so now they've lost the series to the Lakers, right? So Lakers have home court, basically the tiebreaker with them.
They do.
So a little tough for Memphis right now. I mean, I could see Golden State getting in there. I could see the Clippers getting into the top 6, and then kind of possibly having Grizzlies fall out, depending on their schedule down the stretch.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know Clippers, and we'll look at a little deeper a little later, but I know Clippers and Warriors, like I think I mentioned the other day, they're playing the last game of the season. Not sure if Grizzlies are playing any of those two, but we'll take a look at that in a bit. But it's literally one game in the loss column, and between the 5, 6, and 7. And so I could very much see the way things are going, Grizzlies falling out and being part of the plan for sure.
Yeah, I mean, could be possible. I mean, I'm still don't know what I really feel about the plan, even though it's helped the Lakers. Even though it's helped the Lakers get into the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah, couple of years. Even though we did finish within the top 8, Lakers have never finished in the 9 or 10. But
yeah, exactly. We've been in the 7, 8, but at the same time, man, it does make it more competitive down the stretch. I get why Adam Silver did it, because it makes the last 10 games of the season almost like it's playoff time, right? You're not seeing too many teams resting. I would imagine Cleveland and OKC might rest a couple guys coming up, but other than that, everybody's kind of jockeying for a playoff position, and so it does make it a competition. I would say, I'm a little old school. I like to see the 1 through 8. If you made the playoffs, you made the playoffs, right? And
Absolutely.
The only problem is when you see those 10 seeds that, let me go look at the East.
Look at that's what I was going to tell you. Could you please go look at the East? I don't want to play in.
not watching.
I don't want to play in.
I am not watching Chicago versus Miami at the 9-10. Yeah. I'm just telling you.
I love Miami, but it ain't going to happen.
This ain't your Miami Heat from the past. They with no Jimmy Butler. Ain't no way they're going to get in this year. And then, yeah, Chicago's cute and all, and they won a couple games, and obviously they beat the Lakers last two. But that 9-10 is not too intriguing. But I do understand why they've done this to kind of keep it competitive, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, and then it's also those extra games. Like there's been some pretty good playing games. Lakers Warriors, like we talked about a couple of years ago. Lakers and Wolves was a really good one, and so more eyeballs, more teams in it towards the end. Obviously, like in the West, Dallas and Sacramento and Phoenix. I mean, they would just there'd be no reason to play right now because they're so far behind.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like there's going to be a year where like one of these like 9-10s like just make some noise. It's going to happen one time where it's like maybe they were injured all year and they got their guys back. I mean, hell, Lakers were obviously a 7 and made it into the Western Finals 2 years ago. Yeah. So it's here to stay, like it or not.
For sure. I mean, like Phoenix, right? They're out of it right now, right? So it's like you would think with KD and Booker, they would at least get that 10 seed, but right now, it's just not looking good for them. So they're in that 11th right now. So we'll see. I mean, it would be kind of nice to see Dallas and them at the 9-10. I think that's obviously a better matchup to have. Not to hate on Sacramento, but they kind of packed it in when they traded De'Aaron Fox during the All-Star. I mean, before All-Star break, whatnot. So yeah, man. It's going to be a crazy last couple of weeks to finish the season, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So Lakers got about 8 games left, and so we'll kind of get into like the games coming up. But before that, I just quickly before we kind of get into the next topic. So, any concerns about Lakers defense as of late? Give up quite a bit tonight too.
Yeah, major concerns. Again, like my biggest thing is that I think offensively when they go small, they're pretty efficient. They're obviously high scoring at that point, having Rui at the 5 or kind of LeBron at the 5. But I think at that point they just give up too many offensive rebounds, right? They get a little bit into they always want to shoot a lot of threes with that kind of lineup because pretty much everybody in that lineup can shoot 3. Again, we're not seeing many minutes from Jared Vanderbilt. He came in the first half and was wreaking havoc, and then I can't explain it, right? He got 10 minutes in the game. Didn't see him much in the second half. Jackson Hayes only played 17 minutes, right? So if you got 2 big guys, I guess essentially with Vanderbilt being your second big, you got 27 minutes out of those guys, right? So the rest of the time you got small lineup in there. Finney Smith does a hell of a job because he can guard pretty much 1 through 5. So that's why he played 35 minutes, right? So I understand why he's playing more. I just like to see Vanderbilt in the lineup a little bit more as far as for a defensive presence, at least be a little bit more size than what they're given. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's they're kind of trading offense, for defense, I guess you could say. Like they're going with that smaller lineup, going with the more skilled players, and then having that staple like Finney Smith. Obviously, nobody's gonna mistake him for some offensive juggernaut.
Yeah,
but he is hitting open threes. 3 for 7 tonight. You got to take that right from the 3-point line. And so, I think Vando not being out there as much, there's that concern of him offensively. And if he's more in like the maybe 15 to 18 minute range, kind of in those key points of the game, like middle of the second, maybe like end of the third, where I feel like teams are coming back on the Lakers. So maybe that's something that we can look at and JJ can look at as well. And I also think, for example, actually they had 13 turnovers today, and not terrible.
Yeah.
But there's been some games where they have had a high amount of turnovers, and we know what that means. That usually means to instant offense on the other side. So that's really not so much like your defensive, half court. There wouldn't be it'd be more transition, I guess you can say. I think it's like they're kind of, instead of, because they're not so big, they're trying to not get caught up in this half court game and get punished inside. And so they're kind of doing a little bit more run and gun, depending on the opponent. Obviously, they played some like real young teams like Chicago, Orlando. Memphis is not that young, but they are, like you said, they're number 2 on offense, right? So them scoring 127 is almost probably the norm for them. So my hope is once you get into a playoff series, you only have one opponent. Every game is its own entity, right? So much strategy, so much adjustments. The game slows down a little bit. I hope and I think it'll get a little bit better. It's just right now they're just trying to outscore opponents, and some nights it's working and other nights it's not. So, and Connect too. Every time I look, he plays 5 minutes. Yeah. So it makes you think.
He's not really in the rotation when it comes down to when everybody's healthy, right? When Rui's in the lineup, you got Austin obviously there. You don't have really a place to put him, because like we have we have a bunch of wings, right? Like Luka's big, right? Luka's 6'7", 6'8". Yeah, Austin Reaves is 5'6", 6'6", right? Obviously LeBron, Finney-Smith, Rui, they're all big wings, right? So there's not really a spot for Connect, and when you bring in Gabe Vincent, he's going to have a pretty defensive presence there, and he's going to play a lot of hard-nosed defense, right? And that's one thing I think Connect has struggled this year, and that's probably one of the reasons why he rides the bench a little bit more when everybody's healthy. He obviously can bring some firepower on offense, but as far as defensive liability, I think he is one as of right now as a rookie. And that's probably why he was in the trade originally for Mark Williams, who we could have had a big guy at that point, but, felt the physical and things like that.
Yeah, like if you're like going back to that trade with definitely amazing insight there, because I think that's true. It's all about defense right now. If he was a dominant defender, he'd be in there. And if you're looking at it, in a vacuum, like I mean, I think Dalton Connect is definitely like a better player than Mark Williams. Like he's going to be eventually, like he's skilled offensive game, and I think that's like. Obviously the Lakers traded him, but like part of like kind of rescinding it too is like, I think like it's not we don't want to risk like this guy like coming and being super unhealthy. But I feel like this year would have been a good year to have most likely Williams. And I think that's what the thought was, right? When they made the trade, they were worried about this year, not the future, because LeBron is 40,000 years old or whatever. Right. So it's like 42, actually speaking of 40,000, he scored his 42nd point, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's insane. He's insane, man. I mean, 40 years old. Oh,
yeah.
Headband.
I was going to say, I know some people just jumped on, but they're probably wondering, what is this guy rocking? LeBron put his headband on tonight. Oh, yeah. So Eric B. Emac thought he should do the same.
Headband Eric.
We're getting dubs. We're getting dubs all night tonight, baby.
You think the headband's here to stay? Or was that was there any reports on this?
I mean, definitely not for me, but maybe for LeBron, maybe for LeBron. Hey, maybe that's kind of what we needed. We needed him to hopefully that 0 dark 30 or whatever it's called. What is it called? The
0 dark 30 when he goes silent.
Puts on that headband.
I did see that he owned up to the turnover that he had. You saw him tweet. He's like, that's my bad. That's on me. I'm sorry I messed up your sleep. He was talking about his friend on Twitter. So he let everybody know that it was his mistake. So he was holding himself accountable, which obviously he would do that. So maybe the headband was like, all right, we're gonna bring it back to the old days. The last time he wore it was when he scored. He broke the record, right? Kareem's record. So he had it on that game. Just kind of to pay homage to his rookie year, right? and the rest of his time in the headband.
Yep. Yeah, it reminds me of like Clifford Robinson from Portland. He used to wear he'd wear like a black headband in the first half and then a red headband in the second
switch
half.
it up.
Switch it up. But LeBron is I guess bringing it back. We'll see. Maybe he knew he was going to get his 42nd thousandth point, so he brought it out. Who knows?
Could be.
We'll have to see. But
yeah,
big win nonetheless. Obviously, a little small concern about their defense, but hopefully they can piece it together. Maybe Vando can get some more minutes, as you mentioned, because he did cause havoc in the 10 that he was in, and so. 5-6 more of those minutes, maybe 8, like I said, 15 to 18 minutes.
You'd think if in 20 minutes it would be a normal thing for him, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Before we dive into the next topic, any questions? We got our comment section open, so let us know what you guys want to hear. Any questions about the Lakers, the rest of the NBA, any injuries around the league you want me to talk about? We got you. So go ahead. I said that trying to get it in halfway through here too, since other people are following now. So let's get on to the next topics, man.
Absolutely. And I do appreciate you guys. Like, it's a Saturday night. You can be out and about, right? Really appreciate you guys showing up and hearing us out and talking ball about the Lake Show and some other b-ball topics.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Let's get into the Lakers' schedule for this upcoming week, because I know this week's going to be huge for them. So, what we got on Monday?
Yeah, so we're going back home. Sometimes that first home game after semi-long road trip could be a little tricky, and it's big though. It's Houston. So if there's any chance of them getting the 2 seed, you obviously got to win on Monday.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I hate to put a daunting number out there, but so they got 8 games. They probably have to go, minimum probably 7-1 to get the 2 seed.
Yeah.
I would say 6-2 maybe, but it'd have to be the right wins, and obviously beating Houston twice is big. So Monday, Houston. Then you get a couple of days rest before Golden State on Thursday.
That'd be huge.
And then New Orleans on Friday. So a nice little 3-game homestand. Houston Rockets, Golden State Warriors, New Orleans Pelicans. So what are your thoughts on those 3?
Yeah, I think Monday for sure got to make a statement with the Rockets, right? We've seen, and we've seen the previous shows of the Hoops Rehab and my feelings on the Rockets. That has not changed. So we have to make a statement.
Wait, is Akeem Olajuwon playing?
No,
on Monday.
No. Akeem Olajuwon's not walking through the door there.
Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, no. Oh no.
Yeah. Don't. No. I'm not saying they don't have great players. We got
Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks. You know how that's going to be.
Goodness. You guys know what Dylan Brooks is going to do on Monday. Acting like a little kid trying to get in LeBron's head. LeBron's 40. Is like, he doesn't care about that.
He's a man. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yeah. So I think the Lakers need to send Houston a message on Monday and let them know, kind of where they stand with that. And then the best thing about the week, I think, is getting those 2 days off, the Tuesday, Wednesday, because they really haven't had any days off at all recently. So getting those 2 days off would be huge, kind of get everybody rested. I think on Thursday, everybody will play for the Lakers, right? When you're looking at managing Rui throughout the rest of the season. And then Friday, you got the Pelicans, so I can see Rui not playing that game. LeBron will probably be a feeler type of game, like whether or not he can, he feels good with his body to play. Otherwise, you have Luka and AR that should be able to take care of the Pelicans on Friday. So my prediction for the week is you got to go 3-0. If you're making any statements about where you want to stand in this playoffs, that's a 3-0 week. Okay. Especially with those home games. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's what I look at. One game at a time, as always. And, 2-1 is obviously reasonable. But, yeah, 3-0. Home games, 2 out of the 3 opponents are tough. It's not going to be easy. but you're getting a little bit of rest, or at least 1 day of rest or 2 days between those two games. So yeah, you just got to take those, and then obviously see how things are, because after New Orleans they play OKC twice, so it may be like, hey, let's try to play everybody so we can make sure we get this win against New Orleans. I think it all just depends on how the first two games go for the week, and then obviously how the players feel as well, LeBron, and I'm imagining, as you mentioned, Rui probably will not play that game. Yeah. But I mean, big games. There's still a chance to get the 2 seed. It's going to be tough, but still a chance. But the 3 is definitely there for the taking, and that's pretty important as well, getting the 3 seed, because we know getting out of that 4-5 slot, you're avoiding OKC in the second round. Obviously, you got to worry about the first round first, but that's something to keep in mind as well.
Definitely. I think they gotta make sure they're ready for the task, but I think they'll get it done this week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we shared it, but 11. Speaking of seeding, but so they played 11 games in the last 17 days.
17 days, man. Yeah, so that's a lot.
I know you guys that watch in the 80s and 70s. I get it. They play like 30 games in like 10 days, but it's in this NBA. It's I mean, that's a lot of games. It's different, and so sorry. Before we speaking of seeding, I was doing some research, and so there's been 78 champions. 76 of them have been a top 3 seed.
Say that one more time.
So 76 out of the 78 champions, NBA champions, have been a top 3 seed. So take that for what it's worth.
Should we not be in the play-in at least?
Yeah, please.
Top 3 seed. That's actually pretty. Damn. So 76 out of 78. I can name one of them. Was the Houston Rockets?
Right. The other one is random. It's very random. God. Boston as a 4 seed in like 1969.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm sure there was probably only 4
teams
in the playoffs.
Rockets were the only 6?
Yep. So there was 1 4 seed and 1 6 seed. I knew it was a low number, and I was like, damn, it's really low. So 97%. And so that just tells you that if you're a top 3 seed team, you're probably one of the better teams. You're most likely to get home court at least a round or 2, and that's important. So just food for thought. Obviously, some teams have made the finals. You got your Dallas as a 5 seed last year. You got a couple of 8s.
They didn't win.
No, they didn't win it.
I mean, that's a hell of a stat. I mean, when you just think about the reality of because I think fans and everybody nowadays are getting so excited about the playoffs and talking about the play-in. Like, oh, we made the play-in. Oh, we're the 7th seed. You don't have a chance. I mean, the history of the stats say you don't have a chance, right? Yep. So, it's all fine and done. You've seen Dallas get there last year, but we knew they weren't going to match up well with Boston, right?
Right.
So, yeah, man, that makes it even more important for the Lakers to kind of get these games this week and really kind of show, get down to that 3 seed at least, and possibly 2 seed if they could. So, yeah, man, that's a hell of a stat right there.
I know. I knew it was a high number, as I said, but I was like, damn, that just makes me want that. Obviously, it's not a guarantee if you get a 3 seed, but it makes me want it even more. And so, I think we're going to look at the standing just very, very little. We talked a lot about it already, but obviously OKC, as I mentioned, and we mentioned a bunch of times, they're up top.
Mm-hmm. And I'm really one thing we don't talk about is OKC. We just they're good. They're first place. Nobody talks about them right now. This team
are just destroying teams.
Is good. SGA is all around one of the best players out there right now. He get any type of bucket he wants, right? And he's obviously a handful on defense. So we're gonna have to probably talk a little bit more about him coming up, because they're gonna be a problem in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. You're so right. I'm just looking. They beat Indiana 132-111 today. It's nothing. Thunder are literally playing for nothing right now. They could, like I said, they could lose the rest of their games and probably and they would still be first in the West and maybe obviously like they want to get home court throughout the playoffs. Yeah. So they're 3 games ahead of Cleveland. So that is crucial too, probably for them. But I would say they probably are more so looking at Boston, and they're well ahead against Boston. And so, sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, OKC number 1. Let's talk about everybody else. But
that's what I mean.
They're a beast team, and that's why I keep talking about not getting the 4 or 5, because I know you're going to probably have to play them at some point. But I don't know, something about like playing them later. You hope somebody like knocks them out or what have you. It's probably wishful thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, just looking at one thing right now, they have won 9 games in a row. They are averaging 120 points and only giving up 106.9 points per game. Damn. I mean, they're literally in the West, number 1 on defense right there. Let's go to the East. So they're number 1. We got Orlando that gives up 105.8, but pretty much they got the number 1 offense and number 1 defense.
Yeah, basically.
Right. I mean, I've been looking at efficiencies and all that stuff, but when I just looking at points per game, so they are just like dominating at a clip that is just insane. Like a point differential of 13.2, right? That's insane compared to all the teams in the West and the East. So. Man, we got to give them some flowers a little bit, but let's see what happens in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think whoever plays them, they're going to be a big underdog. I mean, Denver might be like that could be a battle, and obviously we're hoping Lakers. But I mean, OKC is a big. Like, don't get me wrong. OKC is a huge favorite in the West. If they play Boston, if that ends up being the finals, damn, that's going to be something. But we hope it's not that, of course. But there's a great possibility that it will be that. And so, they're obviously 1. And then I talked a little bit about the Clippers. I know they play at Cleveland tomorrow. Kawhi has already been ruled out. Right. They're tied with Golden State. And as we mentioned, Memphis is right there. Minnesota's kind of hanging in the wings. They've been pretty solid, like I guess at the 8th seed, but they're only a game back. They're technically only 2 games back from the 5th seed. So, and I know I think Minnesota had one of the easier remaining schedules. So, shoot, you never know with them. They win out, they can get the 5 seed or 6 seed.
Totally.
And so that'll be interesting to see. Kind of just take a quick look. Not that we have to get into the Minnesota train, but now that I said that their schedule is easy, I just want to take a peek. Well, Detroit, Denver, Brooklyn, Philly, Milwaukee, Memphis, Brooklyn, Utah. I mean, they're going to win some games. So, man, I just can't wait for the last couple games of the year, because right now it's so like just teams are flip-flopping. Yeah. And like you really can't get a gauge of what the seeding is going to be, but those last couple will be really interesting to see what's going to happen. Luckily, as I mentioned earlier in the week, Lakers have like a lot of those tiebreakers, almost all of them basically.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, they've been actually really good against the West, right? I think. They're second. I mean, besides OKC, they're the second best team in the West right now as far as record against Western opponents. So
that's a good sign. 31-13. Yeah, that's pretty.
That's what it was, right? Yeah.
Almost the same as OKC, actually.
That's what I thought. Terrible. So they have at least put themselves in some advantages this year as far as tiebreakers and all that good stuff. So that's a good sign. It just we gotta like from that stat that you read earlier, they gotta get that 2 or 3, basically. And 4 is getting a little questionable, but that top 3 is where it's at. So.
Absolutely. So I know John Morant came back today, and there's
somebody was questionable, and Superstar came back against the Lakers. Oh, okay. So let's dive into that a little bit, right? So we had I think JJ came in on his pregame presser, and he read this stat right here that the Lakers analytics team came back and said that 86% of opposing payroll players has been available to play against the Lakers this year, which is by far the number 1 in the league. So there's been this theory for years, right? Like, I know. Everybody who plays against the Lakers, if you've been questionable, if you've been doubtful, if you've been out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 years, whatever it is.
Whatever.
You are coming back against the Lakers.
You will be back.
So when I saw Jaw pop up yesterday as questionable, oh my goodness, you knew he was going to play, right? So I think what this boils down to, right? Everybody wants to get up against the Lakers. Everybody wants to beat the Lakers, right? So everybody always wants to. It's what I call the Lakers tax, right? Like we have trouble with trades usually, except for the Luka trade. I don't know what happened with the Luka trade.
Get like
normally never happens, right? Rumors get out.
Brown.
Yeah.
Kwame Brown.
Oh my goodness. So usually we have some sort of Lakers tax when it comes to trades, when it comes to players being ready to play against the Lakers. Everybody wants to play up against the Lakers, which I love. I mean, I want to play against the best players. I want the best players playing. I just think it's hilarious that no matter what, this has pretty much happened, especially the last couple of years that we hear this. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's something that's always been kind of floating around social media a lot. Like, I guess the one time it didn't happen is when I think Jamal Murray and Jokic Joker didn't play one game, like the game before the most recent time they played, and then everybody was like, "Well, let me guess. I'm sure they're going to play against the Lakers," and they actually did. I think that's like the only time I've seen it. And there's been this like kind of like back and forth on social media where like of course the non-Laker fans are like get over it, like that's not reality. And of course I'm sure it's like there's probably some other teams that feel that way, but if JJ's correct and the data don't lie, it happens, and it could be a big coincidence, but something tells me it's not. It's that high. It's a high clip. I think obviously, it has to do with, I mean, the Lakers are the Lakers, and they've, in the LeBron era, I know there's been a lot of years where they haven't been phenomenal, but they've always been a big ticket, right? It's always, they've been a pretty decent team. They've been a pretty good team. And so a little bit is that, LeBron, obviously. And so, yeah, it is interesting. I think Ja missed 6 games before this, right?
Yeah, I think he's been out since, March 11, 13, something around there.
I thought
he had like a 44-point game right before that, or when he got injured. So,
gotcha.
And it was a hamstring injury, right? So it was kind of a little dicey, but it's been about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. What did he play? Regular minutes today? Yeah, 31 minutes. I guess he's probably not.
He was more than likely on a restriction, probably something like in between that 32 minute restriction, I would imagine. But he looked decent out there. I mean, he had a pretty good game overall. So I mean, his jumper was off, obviously, kind of a little rusty in terms of getting his shot, but still same old Ja.
Yeah, I was thinking, do the Rockets have any injuries that like are looming?
Goodness.
And I know Van Fleet's been out. Oh no, he played the last game, so he
was
out for a
bit. Let's see. Amen Thompson, I think, has been out, but let's see, is he questionable?
He played the last game though, but
okay, so yeah, he's back. Yeah, of course he's back. He was prepping for the Lakers.
Yeah, they knew Monday was on the way. It was near. So
yeah, so he's already back. So that's good.
That'll be a fun game though, for sure on Monday night. But I know we were discussing earlier. It's probably a good thing that there's not a ton of injuries. Obviously,
it's good.
It could change. It could change on a dime. But I know there's one star that has really been pretty much most of the years that he's played. He's had a lot of injuries. LaMelo Ball. He's been ruled out rest of the year, right?
Yep. Yeah.
What's going on with him, Doc? What's his ankle?
Yeah. Okay. So LaMelo has been having years of ankle issues, right? He's had some terrible sprains over the year. I think it was last year or the year before where he sprained his ankle. I think it was 5 times in the season that he was out separate times. I've been on it about him at least putting some supportive stuff, and then he finally started wearing more of the like high tech braces, kind of like what Steph wears Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, and things like that. But again, he's sprained his ankle again this year 2 times, and then also what they're calling like an anterior impingement. So he's just getting like a little stuck in the ankle. So what they're going to do is going to go in there and clean it up and do a little bit of surgery, which is, concerning in a way because it's not going away. So far, none of this stuff has been going away from him, right? And this always reminds me of Steph early in his career. Like he was on the path that, like, every year he's getting hurt. He was getting hurt, ankle. And then he finally had an ankle reconstruction surgery. And then also got into that Zamps brace that he's been wearing, kind of the high-tech braces that were kind of custom made for him. And then if you learned what he did for his body after that, like, because he didn't really, I don't think at that time, even though he's been around the NBA with his dad, Dell, but he didn't understand specifically how to take care of his body in terms of prepping it to be strong up the chain from the foot and ankle. And so he got on a crazy hip, core, trunk program that he does to this day, which has kind of saved him and his lower body from injuries as far as having any major ankle stuff since then. He's worn those braces, which pretty much when he does turn his ankle, it's never that severe. So if I'm LaMelo, and I don't know how serious LaMelo wants this. I mean, he's a hell of a player. He's an all-star this year. But sometimes when you see him play, he doesn't look like he's like, it's almost like
a little silly,
like
a little silly,
right? Yeah. So depending on how much of a superstar he wants to be, I mean, I think he needs to get Steph on speed dial, give him a call, and just try to figure out what he's been doing to keep his body on the court, right? Because that's the ultimate goal, is for him to have a long career, be healthy, be an all-star, and start leading his team to a playoffs, which I don't think he's really even sniffed yet, right? So I think if I'm LaMelo this offseason, I'm taking my body in a high priority. I'm calling Steph #1, trying to figure out what trainers he's been with, and really just take this seriously for the next season so he can have a long career there, because he's obviously got the skills and the talent to do it. It's just a matter of is there a want for him?
Yeah, and that's great insight. I have a follow-up question, but it's good. It's great. Like you think of an ankle, and it's like, you obviously just have to worry about that ankle, but it's awesome that you kind of pointed out that you have to. It's like a shift in mindset and shift in regimen to build strength. It sounds like in like other areas to help you like essentially avoid those ankle issues. Because my question is, like, can you be prone to ankle injuries? Like, can one person get? It obviously does happen, but like, how does a person get more ankle injuries than others? Is it just like bad luck? And what kind of goes to that?
I mean, obviously basketball is a sport where ankle sprains are pretty common. It's like the #1 injury kind of in basketball. But besides that, is once you do have an ankle sprain, you think about like if you ever have stretched a rubber band, right, or have created like stretch silly putty, right? So it becomes lax, right? It becomes a little bit more of a looser rubber band, right? Everything's not as tight. And so once you have a pretty significant, severe sprain, everything is just moving around too much. So it becomes more than likely that you can have another one easier, right? So even like when we saw Austin Reaves, he sprained his ankle a couple of weeks ago, kind of has kind of been dealing with it. And then the other night he did it again, right? So it's like it happens more often once you've had one, right? Especially within the season. So that's why you kind of see people have one and then maybe have another one a couple of weeks later, because you've lost this ability to normally plant your foot or be able to withstand that type of movement without it turning fully, right? So I think that's part of the reason, right? He's had so many sprains and things like that. I mean, for Steph's point, his ligaments were so bad that they were completely torn that he actually had to have them repaired because they were not really there anymore, right? So then he just has this ankle that just is so prone to moving everywhere in every direction, right? So that was pretty much what saved his career, to be honest.
Yeah, geez, it sounds like he does need to hit up Steph like ASAP.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
imagine if Steph wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't have had a lot of things. And so,
I mean, just think about Steph Curry before he won championships, right? Like,
yeah,
a lot of people forget he was what they call injury prone type of player, right?
yep, I recall.
Steph is not injury prone. He did have some bad ankle stuff that he dealt with, and then now he's been able to kind of play this long into his career. You know, I mean, we got to forget. I mean, I forget that Steph is around 36, right? 36, almost 37 years old, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah,
he's been
sure is.
playing a long time, and he's able to get his body. He was able to get his body in pretty good shape, and I mean, he runs the most miles in the league, right? So he's got to
Oh
be
yeah.
in good shape in order to continue in this league.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm not gonna pretend I know LaMelo Ball, but just from the exterior,
Yeah,
it just I don't know. I don't know if he wants it. I hope he proves me wrong because he's
yeah,
obviously a very skilled player and he has all the attributes to be a superstar in this league, quite frankly, right?
yeah.
And so, but he's got to be on the floor, and
Has to be.
that's the number one thing. And hopefully this it's been happening almost every year. It feels like so. Hopefully this year, uh, I don't know, something changes for him in the off season. And we brought it up for a second there, but speaking of ankles, so obviously it seems like with AR, I mean, he played
Yeah,
obviously, he played a lot of minutes,
yeah.
so maybe it wasn't too much of a concern.
No, I mean, man, I it's hard to say this because
Right.
Kobe was our guy, but I feel like
Yeah.
that Austin Reaves is built from the same cloth as Kobe, right? He just plays
Ooh.
through everything, right? He's
Wow.
tough, tough as nails. Um, I'm sure his ankle was not feeling good, but he didn't really like let anybody know that. I've kind of
No.
seen him in interviews whenever he gets injured, and he's like, yeah, I don't think about it at all. Like
Yeah.
there's certain players that like, I don't want to knock guys or anything like that, but there's certain players that when they get injured, they ready to get to that locker room real quick,
Oh yeah.
or they're
Not for
ready
the
to get to
count.
the bench, or they can't play through certain things. And I don't think Austin's that guy, right? I think he's built from same cloth as Kobe. He's tough as nails, and it's great to see a player like that, right? And it's kind of old school in that way, right? Um, but he didn't look like he was too banged up. He looked pretty good, moving lateral, moving all directions. Obviously, led the team in scoring, so I don't think he had too many issues tonight with that ankle.
Oh yeah. No, it didn't seem like it to me. Obviously, great work ethic, and he's young, and so
Yeah,
you add those two things up, you get a performance like from AR tonight,
yeah, man.
bum ankle and all. But obviously, we hope it heals, quickly, and um, we get him as close to 100% as possible because he is key,
Yeah,
definitely to this hopeful long run we got ahead of us. So we'll see. We gotta make it happen on Monday, though.
that's for sure.
Anything
All right, man.
going on in chat land? Everybody having a
Yeah, I mean, not too many questions. I got Cam Miller over here saying, "Hey, so if you do have a question, let us know before we kind of sign off here. We're
absolutely.
gonna be back on Monday night after the late game, so that'll probably be a little later show. What time's that game on Monday, Eric? It's
I'm assuming 7:30 because I don't
around
think
the
it's
7:30
a.
game.
Let me just. Don't quote me because I don't think it's a nationally televised. Oh no, it is. Oh wait. Oh, it is a TNT game. Probably because of the.
March
I don't know why.
Madness.
Maybe because of the March Madness. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting.
so that's
Yeah,
a
because they
what
lost some games. So it's a
7
7 p.m.
o'clock
start.
game. Yeah, so we'll probably be on at 9:30. Whenever that game kind of comes off the air, we'll probably hop on at least right after that game. So if you all have any questions, if you guys, even after the live stream and you kind of watch the replay or whatnot, you can always just send them in the comment section on Twitter or YouTube or Instagram. Let us know. We'll try to answer some of those for the next show as well.
Yeah, guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us on this lovely Saturday night. Another Lakers win. Go Lakers. And yeah, let's get it on Monday.
Yeah, happy Saturday. All right, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.
Hoops Rehab team. Let's go.
HRS. Thank you, guys.